Coming up.
So if I think there's going to be enough deduct there that you would be better off selling them in a different way and it'll put more money in your pocket, I'm going to tell you that. I'm not just going to tell you to sell the cattle with me because I want to make the commission. Now, we do need to grow and we do need to get bigger, but if I'm not doing what's best for you, I don't have a chance to keep you. It takes a person with integrity to work both sides of it. You can't just be all seller or all buyer. You got to be right there in the middle and do what's right for both. And our buyer base too, I mean, they've been very, very supportive from day one. I mean, there's a key group of them guys that when we did make the transition and decided to go this way and build a new company, I didn't know there was that much of an outpour. I mean, they were behind it 100%. But they wanted it done right.
That's right around the corner on the Live Ag Ranch and Livestock Marketing We Live It podcast. But first, a reminder. If it's time to sell your cattle, consign your cattle with Live Ag. Our summer auction schedule is on your screen and available at live-ag.com. Consign your cattle now and take advantage of Live Ag's generations of experience in livestock marketing. Now here's your hosts, deCordova and Casey Mabry.
Welcome back to the We Live It podcast with your hosts, Casey Mabry and deCordova. Today we wanted to spend some time, more educational time, kind of talking about through the process, and that what we wanted to start off with here is going through how the auctions work. Say you're a producer and you wanted to start merchandising your cattle on your auctions. What are some things that somebody needs to look for?
You know, we start off by finding us at our website, which is live-ag.com. And on our website, we have a reps page that'll give a list of our reps in your area. I would kind of start there. I think at the bottom of the page, you can also submit some phone numbers and some contact information if you want us to reach out to you, which we would love to do. Just fill that out, and it would come to the internal team, and we'll kind of get it to the right people, or either that or either myself or one of the guys in the office will reach out and kind of fill out who would be the best fit for you, where you're at, and where your cattle are located. Because some of that stuff, the cattle are located in one spot and then the customer's in another, and we want to make sure we get the right person to you. So best spot to start is at live-ag.com, and just search there. And if you want to call, if you'd rather talk to somebody, there is an 800 number there for the office, I believe. And if there's not, after this episode, Katie will get an 800 number up on the website to where people can reach out. It might not be 800 number, 817 number. I'm trying to get fact checks back here real quick, but that would be the best process, is to go through that procedure. And we do have a great team of reps out there that are scattered across the country to service you, and the process is pretty seamless.
Yeah, so probably geographically driven is probably the biggest thing there. So let's say I reach out to one of your reps, kind of to walk me through the process of how that works.
Okay, you'll reach out to them. They'll kind of ask a few questions before they come, kind of what you're looking at selling, whether it's a cow-calf operations, whether it's a yearling operation, or whether it's bred stock, or what it is you want to sell. And then they'll probably go through a few more questions. Okay, well, how many you have? What's that look like? Because we do get a few calls that don't fit our model. And I mean, there's places for everything to be sold, and there's sometimes we do get phone calls where we can't help them. And the last thing we want to do is waste their time. So what we do on those people is tell them, okay, this is what you'll need to do to come and sell through us. Once you get there, we'd love to help you. Or if you'd like help getting there, we can give you some suggestions. And our job as a rep is to make whoever we talk to profitable, make their organization or their outfit, make it to get the most value of whatever they're offering. So that's the first job of a rep, is to visualize and assess what they have and what is the next plan of action, and to ask them how they've been doing it. What have you been doing? And also we get into some of that too, and I'm as honest as I can be with those people when I do go through those steps. If they're doing something and I don't think I can elevate them to another level, I tell them, look, guys, what you're doing is working. Unless you just want to change, I can't benefit you no more. I'd love to sell your cattle for you. I'd love to help you. But unless you just want to change, what you're doing right now is perfect. It fits your outfit. It fits your program. But then we can get into some other things about, okay, once we do go to selling their cattle, then we can advise them on if it's a cow-calf operation. Okay, well, they'll ask us typically, okay, what can we do to make it better? we can concentrate on genetics, through our purebred operation. We can concentrate on VAC programs. We can concentrate on third-party verifications, whether it's through IMI Global or Earth Claims, and then our mineral program like through VitaFirm, and some of that stuff where we can add value through different programs that we can do. Genetics is a big one. I mean, getting the right genetics in your herd and breeding your cows to the right type of bulls to make the right type of cross or the right type of purebred, however you want to do it, and where you're located and what region of the country you're located in, that makes a big difference on how your cattle sell and what they bring. And breeding seasons. I mean, the times when the cattle come out, the times when they come off, how big they are, when you're going to sell them, what program fit, what slot they fit, and when their end game is, and all that matters. And that's something the rep is knowledgeable of and can go out and be with the customer and inform them.
Moving livestock isn't just about getting animals from point A to point B. It's about doing it with the care and precision that keeps your investment safe and sound. Since 1987, Agar Transportation has been the name that ranchers across the country trust with their herds. Their experienced drivers understand that your livestock is your livelihood, and they trust each load like it's their own. I've personally used Agar to move my own livestock, and I can tell you, nobody takes better care of your animals on the road. Whether you're moving herd bulls or a full truckload of calves, give Agar Transportation a call today. That's 208-452-5011, or visit agartransportation.com for a quick quote. Agar Transportation, moving your cattle with care since 1987.
Yeah, I think about all the different things that are in the industry and all the value propositions that are out there. You got breed character, you got, all the different program types. You talk about NHTC, so the non-hormone cattle, all naturals, all that stuff. I mean, you guys do a pretty good job, or a really good job of Alex explaining that and also bringing those producers in there. So explain to me, so there's probably some customers out there that are probably listening to this. And so what is the ideal? And I imagine there's lots of variation in ideal. What's the minimum size? What's the ideal scenario for somebody that's interested in putting cattle on a video?
We sell load lots. I mean, so what I look at it is, and then we sell split loads to make load lots too. The way I look at that is, are you willing to give up? If you're going to just sell 40,000 pounds of cattle, are you willing to give up that so much of a freight adjustment, or adjust the freight to 48,000 and see what that looked like, and then how that dollar evaluates back into your bottom line. So if I think there's going to be enough deduct there that you would be better off selling them in a different way and it'd put more money in your pocket, I'm going to tell you that. I'm not just going to tell you to sell the cattle with me because I want to make the commission. Now, we do need to grow and we do need to get bigger, but if I'm not doing what's best for you, I don't have a chance to keep you. So if I can give you the right kind of advice to make your bottom dollar bigger, one day when you do have 45 or 48,000 pounds of cattle, you're going to remember that, and you're going to come back to me, and we're going to talk again, and then we're going to sell them. And then we can make your bottom dollar even more. So that's kind of how I look at it. We try to stick with load lots of cattle, but we do sell short loads, and we commingle some cattle with some neighbors and stuff like that. That's another thing that a rep can get in a little area and do a little commingle deal with several other smaller ranchers in that area. So
yeah, and kind of at least put them on the same sale to where it kind of gets there.
Yeah, so sell them lot by lot and say, hey guys, you've tied these shit together. We'll put them on a truck together. Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing that I've probably heard a lot of when I've worked with smaller producers out there, or even bigger producers, is, and they've traditionally gone to one marketing style, whether they're calling and selling the cattle private treaty, or they're putting the cattle through an auction barn down the road. What are some advantages to those guys by using something like Live Ag?
Well, the way I focused on it is stress. A lot of the stress is less if you're just selling them straight off the ranch. So versus a sell barn, you got a lot less handling with them. And versus a private treaty transaction, well, you get 2 or 3 guys bidding on those cattle in those private treaty deals, where we can have anywhere from 15 to 20 at one time looking at your cattle. So we're broadening your buyer base too on the guys that are doing the private treaty deal. The guys that are going to sell barn, we do shrink the cattle on the ground or shrink the cattle on the truck. There is a little shrink involved in it, but time after time you can check those shrinks, and you go to the sell barn and that shrink will be quite a bit better just coming right off the ranch. And in the end game where they get to, I have certain customers, certain buyer base that, that they're at the point now that they want nothing but off the ranch because the health's better. it just helps all the way through because their health program stays better. They can afford to give a little bit more up front because they don't have to put near as much into them on the backside. I got one customer that won't even buy one out of a sale barn. And that coming from a previous sale barn owner. I mean, we own barns, we sold on video, we've done it all, and there's a spot for all of it.
Yeah.
So.
Looking to earn a premium for doing things right? At Earth Claims, we provide private, third-party verification services trusted by ranchers and preferred by retailers. We offer the original animal welfare program, Global Animal Partnership, also known as GAP. And now we've added NHTC and Verified Natural to provide the best third-party bundle in the business today. Plus, Earth Claims offers grass-fed and organic programs to propel your access into the top markets and best prices. Our team has over 200 years of combined experience in animal husbandry, and we understand the ins and outs of your operation because we've lived it too. Call us today at 816-652-2004 or visit earthclaims.com to enroll your cattle and start earning more. Earth Claims, rancher trusted, retailer preferred.
No, I could see that. And I mean, say that you're a smaller producer and you got, 50 to 100 cows and their calving windows extremely wide. So they're calving all year long. It's probably extremely hard to put a load lot together and having them consistent sizing and sexes and things like that. But as far as like some things that I've heard producers say, and just kind of help me, I guess myth bust, if you will, talk about the stress. I mean, and the shrink. So you mentioned shrink. Some people may not even know what shrink is. Explain what that is.
Well, it's like a calf crop, for example. You strip them calves right off them cows and you send them to a sale barn. They stand there for a day and a half. They're going to lose quite a bit of weight. In this instance, if you sell them to a video, you're going to strip them off that morning. They're going to go across a set of scales, and they're going to be somebody else's property. I mean, there's not that big of a gap before they're weighed and sold.
Yeah, so a lot of guys, they don't know what their shrink is, right? Because they take the cattle, they gather them, they push them on a truck, they haul them to the sale barn. The only weight that they ever capture is what they sold, the sold weight. So they don't truly know how much the first weight was.
Right.
I've dealt with that a million times as far as trading fat cattle goes, where guys will sell cattle and not know what the shrink is, especially when you get into some other areas. It's not as prevalent now as what it used to be, but it's definitely something that guys got to look at. But you can't weigh the same cattle twice, if you will. You guys, when you sell cattle to protect both parties, you put a shrink on the cattle because everything's predetermined. You don't know necessarily what the weight is. So another thing that I've heard people say is, if I said, I've recommended some of my customers to sell cattle on videos because what I do like is the ability to determine when you're going to sell them, timing wise, right? You don't know if this is honestly one of the things I think about a lot is the weather. You're not going to be worried about the weather that morning, or if you're going to be able to get trucks in and out that morning to do it. You can kind of get more of a scheduled plan. But as far as some of the predictability factors, one of the things that I've had producers tell me is I don't know what they're going to weigh.
Yeah.
So you're going to put the cattle on the video. You're going to video the cattle ahead of time or whenever that is. So kind of walk through. A producer says, let's say I'm Casey and I say, Ty, I want to sell, a load of cattle on the video. I'm worried about predicting the weight of them because I want to make sure that we don't get into a bind there. Explain to me how we would go through that process.
Well, my first question would be, where have you been selling them and how have you been, especially if it's a cow-calf producer? Okay, what typical time do you pull them off your cows, and how have you been selling them? And a lot of them will have records. They just don't realize they can utilize those records. So they'll have past sale records for the last 5 years. So, okay, well, what did they weigh when you sold them the last 5 years? Okay, well, it varies. Well, yeah, because weather and droughts or excess of rain or perfect conditions, they all vary. But if you can take an average and you can be within 25, 35 pounds of that on a year-to-year base, you can be that close if you do it all at the same time. And most guys do that have big enough cow-calf operation. They tend to ship their cattle at the same time, around the same 2 weeks every year. So they have the ability to do that. They just don't know that they could look back and, oh, wait, I can go to my sales receipt. I sent them to sell barns for the last 5 years at this barn at this time of year for the last 5 or 10 years. Well, let's go get those receipts and look at it. Well, then what you got to do is you got to get them back and look at them and average them out and figure it all out. And it's not that complicated to get pretty close. And then on the sale of yearlings, it's not hard to test weigh them unless you don't have a scales within 50 miles or something. But then you got these reps that are getting pretty good at being able to tell what one way and predicting the kind of a gain on them and all that. So
that's probably something that's super important, Todd. I mean, you've been in this industry for a very, very long period of time, and I'm guessing you could probably get out there personally and, probably nail these cattle pretty close on weight. One of the things that I struggle with in my business, and I think lots of people struggle with in their business, is having the right people in place. So you send a rep out there to look at the cattle. I mean, talk through, your reps and who you guys use and why you select for those reps to be able to gain the trust that you guys at Live Ag can deliver a very consistent, product or service each and every time you guys do it.
And don't get me wrong, we're gonna run into issues where our weights are off. I mean, heck, we had several of them yesterday in a grow yard situation, and I'm like, how did we do this? It happens. You're gonna mess up. You're gonna have some mistakes. It's how you fix them in the end, whether everybody comes back to the table or not. But as far as choosing reps, gonna be pretty particular on who we do go out and select. I kind of mentioned this on some other ones, some other podcasts before about, we don't want to be the biggest. We kind of want to be the best. And that goes back to selecting the right guys to do the right job that are representing Live Ag out there. So that rep deal is kind of a unique job. First and foremost, you're representing your customer, and you got to sell your customer's cattle as high as you can make them, the most you can make them bring. That's your first job. But after you get that done, you got to transition to a buyer. So now you got to ship the cattle to fit a buyer's spec on how you sold the cattle. So you got to there's a fine line you walk between seller and buyer there that it takes a person with integrity to work both sides of it. You can't just be all seller or all buyer. You got to be right there in the middle and do what's right for both.
Oh, I bet that's it. I mean, it seems like it's probably a tough job. It's really not, because honestly, you're probably bringing together, making sure for the producer, he doesn't want to get a phone call back. Mm-mm. He wants a 5-star review. He wants
people to keep coming back to buy his cattle.
Yes, absolutely.
Majority of them.
Yeah. And so having that rep in place and having the trust and the foundation on both sides is probably the most key part of the whole deal, and making sure that the glue's there. And
our buyer base too. I mean, they've been very, very supportive from day one. I mean, there's a key group of them guys that when we did make the transition and decided to go this way and build a new company, I didn't know there was that much of an outpour. I mean, they were behind it 100%, but they wanted it done right. So there are some things that we're working on right now with our shrinks, and our main things are slides and our weight stops. I mean, you can look back in our catalogs the last couple of sales that we have a lot of cattle with weight stops on them and big slides, and we're pushing that because we're getting pushed to do that. We're seeing a premium for them selling them with a weight stop and a big slide. We're starting to see those premiums, and you're starting to see those cattle that don't have them. They're wondering why they're not bringing as much as these are. Well, because they are given a weight stop, and a big slide. This slide deal is at these levels is.
Let's talk about slide. Let's talk about slide for a minute. Explain in the most simple form that you can what a slide is. So let's just remember this. We're probably talking to a producer that's sending cattle to sale barn. They just sell the cattle and they get a check back, and a lot of them look at per head values, right? So let's talk about how we get to where we optimize my calf crop. Explain to me what the slides are, how they work, and why they're important.
Well, there's several of them. And there's a regular conventional slide, which is an up slide. Calf is 25 pounds big. You got a 10-cent slide. The calf just say he brings $2. You take, and he's 25 pounds big with a 10-cent slide. You take $2.50 off $2. So you got one that brought what's that, $197.50 with $2.50 off of him. So that's how the conventional up slide works. It's better if we write it down. You can explain it a lot better so people can see the math, but that's just the gist of it.
So it's adjusting weight based off the value, because heavier cattle should bring less per hundredweight. Mm-hmm.
But it's still more dollars per head. That's where people get. That's where producers sometimes get hung up when you go to deducting that money off that per hundredweight. They're like, well, he's not really bringing less. He's really bringing more dollars per head. He's bringing less dollars per pound, but he's bigger, so he's bringing more dollars per head.
I go through this all the time. We were looking at a kill sheet the other day on a set of fat cattle. Okay, everybody's hung up on how much more of the market do I get per hundredweight, right? I go start looking through the kill sheet, and all these cattle had been born basically the same day. There were some half-bloods, born the same day, been in the feedlot the same amount of time, and there was a heavyweight discount. And these cattle went into heavyweight discount, but when you look at them on a per hundred or per
Head.
dollars per head, they were bringing like $500 more per head,
It being bigger.
and they brought $20 a head, 100 less.
Yeah.
So then the produce, that's what I always ask them. I'm like, what's the animal's the most profitable? So to your point, when you're saying, hey, people might be scared of the slide, but the slide and pushing those animals to the heavier weight might actually be more profitable for the operation from a total dollar standpoint.
Yeah, but then you got to get into the point where is it? What is a big enough slide for the guy that's receiving them? I mean, these 8 and 10 cent slide days is over with. I mean,
It's because
at these values.
Well, these values and then the rollback,
Yeah.
right?
Man.
Yeah. So having the cost of gain and the cost of production now with all the cheap feedstuffs we have, that's probably the most important.
I've been looking at a deal. We've been selling some cattle on the gain slide, at a dollar gain slide, and that, if you look at that thing might fit better than anything at this point at these levels, because it's just $1 every pound that goes up. That's what the producer's putting in his pocket, and that's what the buyer's having to pay. And I don't know what he can put a pound. Some of them it takes 95, some of them their dollar cost of gains $1.10, $1.20, whatever it is. But the dollar is about as fair as you can get, I would think. And we're doing quite a bit of that on some of these cattle that are coming in pretty big.
Yeah, we've never seen it's extremely unprecedented to see the spread between market value of cattle, whether you're talking about feeder cattle or fat cattle, and then the cost to produce a pound, the cost to produce a pound of gain. I was thinking about the other day, even if a fat steer is extremely inefficient, for every day that he's standing in there, he's gaining 2.5, 3 pounds a day. You'd like to see him gain 3.5, 4 pounds a day, but they probably start to tamper some of their growth. Yeah. But I think that's one of the biggest reasons we've seen, lots of changes. But for every day that the animal's standing there, that spread, if they're gaining 3 pounds a day, the spread between the market price and the cost of gain is probably, at the worst case scenario, $1.50.
Yeah.
Or $1. And so you got $1 at 3 pounds. Every day is $3 a day for every day that they stay in there. So it's definitely going to drive things. And behaviorally, we're going to do things different. But then from your standpoint on the slides, it definitely makes a big importance.
And I was talking to some of these buyers the other day, and they were giving me a hard time about slides. And, I've been hesitant to bring this up on one of these deals because of the calls I'm probably going to get. But at this point in time, I don't, whatever, call me. But until our buyer base goes to pushing back on these small slides, there's no way us as reps or as independent or as a video company or anybody, until the buyer base goes back and pushes against it and stops bidding on these cattle with these little slides.
Yep.
And if they're still going to support it, that's still going to happen. So until the buyer base says and has enough and shows a big enough discount on those cattle with those smaller slides, we won't ever be able to get it right where it needs to be.
Yeah. So do you think that's they don't really have leverage today, right? The buyers just buying cattle because they're offered it that way. But you did say you're seeing a spread. The cattle with bigger slides are bringing more money.
They are, and then it's starting to happen. You can see it, and you're starting to see it, especially the weight stops. Them guys are really liking this. And then that's making the producer be tighter on what he's choosing to do. How he's trying to get better at what he does, and that's great. That's what we want to do. We want people to come back and buy these cattle year in and year out. And if the producer's going to do it right and get that close, he don't mind giving a little weight stop or a big slide because he knows he's going to be pretty close.
Yeah, particularly with like we talked about with the ability, if you have a lighter weight animal, you can put more pounds, you get more rollback. So to a buyer, it's probably more important to have an animal that's not going to be bigger. It's not like it's just going to there. Even in today's day and age, or even more so in today's day and age, where you're probably seeing more, what used to be a 7 weight's now an 8 weight or a 9 weight. You're seeing lots more bigger cattle, genetics, cheap feed, rain, all those different things have allowed for people to get there. And you know what? Incentive is going to drive outcome. Yeah. So, if the guy's incentivized, and I guess there's incentives and then disincentives. to do things. So if they're being rewarded, they're just going to continue to push that way.
Hang right.
Ready to grab your piece of Texas? Whether you're buying, selling, or scouting out your next adventure, Texas Ranch Sales is your go-to. They know land and they know how to get it in your hands. From massive cattle ranches to hunting land that stretches for miles, they've got what you're looking for. Their expertise and commitment to the land are what set them apart, helping you make informed decisions every step of the way. So whether you're buying your first ranch or expanding your legacy, Texas Ranch Sales has got your back. Visit TexasRanchSales.com today to get started on your ranching journey. Then head over to TexasRanchJournal.com to sign up for the exclusive quarterly magazine, Texas Ranch Sales. Land is more than property, it's your future.
Yeah, as far as that goes, we kind of went through, how to get a hold of a rep. We've gone through how that video process. When do we video the cattle?
When they come, try to do it when you write the contract up. Sometimes we have to do the contract over the phone because there's some deadlines. There's a big man standing right over here that likes the video to be done early and often, so he don't have to bug everybody and keep calling them. But that video needs to be done at least 2 or 3 days after the deadline. I'm going to ask him. I'm going to fact check this so he don't shoot me. But the video can, if you get in a crunch, we can do it pretty fast.
Yeah.
But we like to get that video on so we can get it up. We want to get it up online. We want to get it out there so people can see it. So we really like all the videos to be in when the catalog's up. So say a deadline's on a Tuesday, catalog goes up on a Thursday or Friday. So if you can have that video in 2 or 3 days after the deadline of the catalog, then the online catalog, that would be best. So then the buyers can get on there, search through there, and look at the cattle they want to buy.
Yeah, so they get to see that ahead of time and kind of plan through that. So that's another. There's probably another advantage to that. It's not like we're just walking across the catwalk, looking at cattle that showed up that day. Somebody can kind of get in there and get a predetermined plan on what they want to do as far as from a buyer's standpoint. What other stuff you want to talk about as far as that process goes?
Not just, the filming deal is a big deal. How you make them look and how you film them and what's the word I'm looking for? The production of the film, I guess you could say, or how you portray
quality of the film.
The quality of, that's it, the quality of the film.
Yeah, you're not just going out there and shooting these things with iPhones, right?
Oh, yeah, you are.
Okay.
Like, them iPhones do great, but you got to hold them right, and you got to make your settings right. Like, Baining is a stickler on how you do it, and I love it because it makes the cattle look so much better. Turn that phone sideways and just record away, but the separation in the top and the bottom and how the cattle string out and where the sun's at. And
you think about that. We watch our kids, our daughters take pictures, and it makes, it seems like I always get on my wife because she'll take a picture of me like pointing the camera down and my legs look like they're real short. And I'm like, I'm already short anyway.
Come on, man.
It's all perception, right? So
oh, yeah,
imagine making those cattle look as good as they probably can.
Yeah, and people call sometimes, and you'll film some cattle or send some cattle out there that are just kind of cattle. Well, they'll call you about them. You're like, I don't know. You might want to. I don't know if them will fit you. What do you mean you don't know they will fit me? Well, he said, I watched the video. The video's great. I said, yeah, the video's great because they did a really good job of filming them.
Yeah.
So that is one thing that will change the factor of things is how good those cattle look on the film.
So that's why it's important to make sure you're getting a hold of the rep to know. So then a guy, he gets what you don't want him to get. You don't want him to get catfished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but well, awesome. Anything else?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe the future markets. I guess one reason to use the video sell is so you can capture those. When the market's up, market's good, either a video sell or LAX or our listing site. When this market's hot, let's contract cattle out. Let's get some cattle sold for fall. The way this market is right now, it's unprecedented. Even though we've had a couple of down days here, but it's still higher than any of us have ever seen it. So why not forward contract some of them cattle? And that's the ability that selling cattle on video or forward contracting cattle. That's the ability that we like and will give. So
yeah, so that's a good point. We got what to touch on there. So I've got some clients out there that are running cattle on grass, and they traditionally would buy the cattle wherever they buy them from. They kick them out on grass, and then they're going to run them cattle as long as they can. So let's say Labor Day, right? If we're in the north, they're going to run them cattle out there on Labor Day, and then they traditionally just haul them straight into the sale barn during that time period. One thing that I've really tried to encourage guys of is there's a couple different ways, and we'll go through this in the next episode, to manage risk on those cattle. One of them's physically selling the animal. One of them's using the product like LRP to protect it. And then one of them is just using the futures market.
Yeah.
Well, so in today's world, the LRP is 13 weeks away. So we can't even get to Labor Day right now. You get to futures market's so volatile to where you're going to have all this margin exposure. And then the other one's forward contracting the cattle in the physical way. So I try to encourage our guys to go, you know what? Let's get the cattle out there and get them sold.
Well, some of them guys that do that, what you're talking about, and they're not sure about the rain or whatever. My suggestion to them, and what I tell them guys, okay, let's don't sell all of them. Let's go in there and let's sell 75% of them. Mm-hmm. That way, if you do have to come early, you can come early with some of them, and you can stretch it out. If you want to come late, you can come late, or sell 50% of them. Cover something. Let's cover some of your risk some point, somewhere or another. Because you can, if you'll just sell part of them, you can manage that a lot better than just having.
Well, you're never all wrong.
No, you're not. So, and
that's our biggest fear, right?
Exactly. So, what's it hurt to capture some of this good market, because they'll make money right now. Or
it's unbelievable.
So that's what I suggest. And if they're nervous about being able to keep them long enough, or not, let's don't sell all of them. Let's sell part of them.
Yeah, I was driving in here a little bit ago, and I was talking to one of my clients, and we were talking about selling cattle early, like fat cattle, right? And so they're getting bid on the cattle. They weigh, what weigh 1,300 now. What used to be big is now small, right? Mm-hmm. It's amazing how perception changes. But he made this most simple comment. And the most simple comment, and this is a 65-year-old man that says, my dad always told me you won't ever go broke taking a profit, right? And right now in our world, we have the luxury that these cattle are extremely profitable. Use all the tools that you have available to you. To some people, futures markets work. Some people, LRP works. And some people, physical selling the market works. Again, I've tried to encourage a lot of my guys, hey, they're like, what do I do? Selling them, just hauling them straight into town right now, you're giving up weight.
Yeah.
The network to trade the cattle out front is you don't necessarily have lots of bids on them, but you guys offer the luxury of putting the cattle out there and picking your future delivery date.
Yeah.
What's the furthest you sold cattle out?
Sold some cattle in January, and we got some cattle traded in January.
So you're selling them now,
delivering them January.
So 6 months away from now. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right, good. As far as I feel like we covered quite a bit here today. If you guys have any questions, there should be a QR code on the screen. You can submit any of the questions that you like, and Ty and I will respond to you. Probably more so Ty in this topic. If you got any market stuff, definitely Ty will probably answer that one better than I could. Also,
I don't know about that.
We appreciate you guys joining us today on this We Live It podcast. If you guys have any questions, like I said, submit on that QR code.
Link at the bottom.
There's a link at the bottom. Yeah. Like and subscribe. Forward this on. Share it. If you're somebody that wants to be on here and you want to get your voice out, reach out to us. We can do that as well. Thank you guys. Have a great one.